the second recording of the Let's Talk Energy podcast. I am your host, Lisa Richard, owner of Loving Energy Recharge. And today I have a very special friend and soul sister, VanCaeseele. She is an amazing teacher, friend, partnership on this journey of life. We are part of a larger group of women called More Than Existing. That is a program that was created and founded by Corey Thorne, who is an absolute amazing spiritual guide, emotional teacher, someone that has led us on this journey of learning to trust in ourselves, to get really clear with how we operate, how energy is influencing our being, our systems. Most importantly, learning that there is more than just us in this world. I think so many times we come into these situations and we feel that we are alone. We are separated from everybody else. We are the only ones walking our journey. We are the only ones in our pain. And then we get these opportunities to meet people in our lives that remind us that we are so far from alone in our existence. And this program that we have been in, this More Than Existing, has really allowed that opportunity to open up, to develop trusting, healthy relationships where you could be so completely vulnerable. And it was through that program that I have met beautiful Julie. Julie is a recent graduate of the level 3. I'm currently wrapping up the final stages of level 4, obtaining that certificate as a light worker coach. And she is an individual that has inspired so many others through her journey because of that willingness to open up, to acknowledge that she's human. She has many different thoughts, many different feelings, many different moments of being real and calling it like it is. But she is also an individual with really deep roots into the earth, connecting with the life around her, connecting with the essence of Mother Earth herself. And Julie, I think I'd like to start there a little bit. If you could share with the audience, what is your connection like to the life that is all around you?
Well, hi everybody, and thank you so much for inviting me. My connection. Well, I'm a quirky little woman, and I have, as a woman, I tend to be stuck in that woman role through my life. It's been quite a challenge to get myself to become aware of the talk inside my head. Through my life, I've always had a connection with the earth. Doesn't seem to matter what sort of hardship I get myself into, the bad decisions I've made for myself, I've always had the earth. I deeply, deeply connect to the earth, and everything to do with the earth has always been my go-to. That is my safe place. That is the place where I'm loved and I can love. The human world, I have always found so much is not my truth. So much of these things we're being taught just don't ring true to me, and I've tried so hard through my life to be a part of that human world, even though for sure I'm still a part of that world, but I see it differently now. I see so much different. And every morning when I wake up and say, "Good morning, Mother Earth," and I greet the day in a new way, and I know now I'm not as crazy as I thought I was. I am very grounded, tremendously grounded. And it's with the simple things in life, not all that other stuff we're busy trying to acquire, and those possessions and all that stuff is so unimportant to me. It's the earth. I love the earth.
I can hear the passion in your voice, Julie, and I absolutely love how you talk about being grounded, being really present in this experience, and not worrying so much about trying to fill in all that void with material objects. I talked about that a little bit in my first podcast with my husband about, there's so much tendency for others to try to find and fill gaps in their life from collecting things out there in terms of material. And it just doesn't hold the same connection, the same deep feeling that resides within you as just going out into nature and creating experiences and allowing yourself to be present in the moment. And you have such a beautiful way of always reminding individuals to just feel the sun, breathe the air, look at the plants, feel that connection that is available to us all, that is given so freely from Mother Earth. And I'm wondering if you can share with the audience, if you're comfortable, how old you are, because I think there's some inspiration in, talking about the journey of, maybe how old you were when you really started to reconnect back to that essence of yourself, and perhaps what you've noticed in the journey of taking that time for you to reestablish that deep grounding connection.
Yes. Well, I joined the More Than Existing program approximately a year and a half ago. And when I first reached out for the program, I was lost. I was lost trying to be a good girl, such a good girl. I'm 61 now, and I also went through the turmoil at this age. At this age, Julie, like really. But I was so unhappy trying to gather all the material things, and in the world's eyes, I was successful. I have a home, I drive a nice car, I had my children, like I was doing what was expected of me, but I was so unhappy, deeply, deeply unhappy, until I met the More Than Existing group, until I stepped out of my comfort zone and just tried for me. And boy, did I try for me. And hasn't been an easy journey. There's been lots of things for me to look at. Lots of, like, my family history. You've got to be willing to really look at it. I want to say some of the parts have been hard work, and yes, some of the letting go, even though it sounds like, well, that wasn't working for you, how could you just not want to let it go? But it's ingrained enough. It's so deeply ingrained. But the more than existing gives you tools to try to start opening yourself up to the things that are really true to you. Sorting out those things that don't work. They just don't work, and they've never worked for you. But my poor parents were wonderfully conditioned and did the best they could too, also to follow expectations.
Julie, that's such a powerful statement that you said. My parents were so wonderfully conditioned, because we all come from different circumstances, different generations. We've all had different people in our lives, and we forget that we are all impacted by their own conditionings, their own upbringings, stories, beliefs, just trying to do the best that they know how to do in that moment. And so imperfectly perfect. And we ourselves, we carry our own stories of how we perceive certain things to be. We've created our experiences. We have allowed things to become acceptable that just are no longer acceptable. So learning to come back and feel for you, and and linking that back down to Mother Earth, right? You're taking that time to explore your roots. You're getting really deep under the surface of things, under the ground of things, and you're feeling things out down there to acknowledge that, at that point in the story, that point in that growth process for that ancestor, that individual, that was where they were in the moment. But then you've also allowed yourself to come up through those roots, to emerge from the ground, to stand in your own light, in your own essence of who you are today. And then to really feel and pull in the sun, the water, the nutrients, all of those things that are helping you to breathe and grow new leaves, new experiences, and really come into the essence of the Julie of today. And how would you describe the Julie of today?
The Julie of today. Sometimes I don't hardly recognize her. She's different and she's grown, and I do not carry the burdens, for the heavy burdens I used to carry. I am so much more light-footed. I am so less responsive to the world and their words and their expectations. I just am a different girl. And yes, I do not carry the load, even though for sure it's still part of me. And so when I get in a tight situation, I tend to rely on who I know, who I knew. But the new me is getting so strong. I am getting so strong, Lisa. It's incredible the change that has happened. And it hasn't been just me. My children are in their 30s, and the growth that has happened with them also. And it is my new way of talking. It is my new way of being compassionate towards that people say. It is all this new stuff that I have brought into my life is an incredible thing. It's just incredible. And you are never too old. You are never too old. In one short year, the change was just, I can't even put it into words, the change, because it's something that begins to happen inside of us. Something inside of us. My heart speaks louder than my head for the most part these days. That in itself is something, just something to rejoice. When we start listening to our heart and not our head. My head doesn't always make the best decisions.
Yeah.
Learning to listen to my heart has just been so beautiful. And stand firm with it. Don't waver when people around you are trying to nudge you in a direction that's not true to you. Stay true to you. What is our truth?
Again, such a beautiful statement. And, you hit the nail on the head, because you talk so much about how much more you're listening to your heart and you're feeling your heart and coming out of the head space. So in the work I do, that More Than Existing program was my roots of change. And from that, I started to explore so many other areas of energy work, energy healing, went through and took my emotion code practitioner training, human design training, trying to link some science to merge it into this spiritual change that was going on within my body. Because I am somebody who is probably more logical, and I really love science. I am just fascinated by how the world operates, how plants and animals grow, how people have different behaviors. So I'm always intrigued by the scientific explanations on things. And what I really learned for myself in my journey and doing that research and understanding energy at such a deeper level is that it has been proven that heart center of us has more neurological activity than our brain. So that heart is absolutely what we need to be listening to help us make our decisions, to help us determine what is right for us. And again, to connect us back to everything in our environment. Now, Julie, you had a very deep experience, and you and I have worked together a few times, but you were called forward to schedule a session, and I called it a loving touch pet energy healing session. Now, part of that is, you have a deep connection to the plants around you, the animals around you. And I'm wondering if we can talk a little bit about your dear companion, Hawes. And, maybe start even from the beginning of bringing him into your environment for the first time, and how you got to kind of connect with his own energy, because animals don't have the verbal language that we do as humans, but yet we have the ability to speak to them on such a deeper level, because it is the heart that is receiving all of that information that truly matters.
Yes, my beautiful friend Hawes. Hawes came into my life approximately 10 years ago. He is a rescue dog. He was one of those rescue dogs that I adamantly said that dog will never live in my house. I do not want anything to do with that unruly, undisciplined, unneutered dog. Yes, he was that dog. And a neighbor had rescued him off a highway up here in the north. He was in very bad shape when he first showed up, and his name was Chewy. And the lady that was standing beside him had said to me, "His name is Chewy. He's so cute. He chews everything." And I mean, he chewed your physical body. He chewed everything. And like I said, as I looked at that dog, I thought, oh, no, 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 no. That dog will never live with me. No siree. But as time goes on, the people in the house are professionals. He's running loose in the neighborhood. Trouble begins. He's biting children. He's 70 pounds. And he's in such a bad way. So the man who has his guardian, I guess we'll call him, has been told, do something about that dog. The neighborhood wants him shot. So the dog gets chained on a logging chain. And the man's a professional. And again, he's gone from home and we're listening to a crying dog. And it isn't until one day when I hear him crying. It's a different cry. And I go over there to find he's dragged his caribou carcass into his doghouse and now cannot get out of his doghouse because he's being impaled by the ribs of the carcass. That's what changes my mind. That is the moment I know he needs help. This is no life for any animal. And so I unhook him and I bring him into the house. Can hardly believe I've done this, but I've done this. And then I decide that because the neighborhood so wants this dog gone, that I must confront the people and tell them what I'm up to. And one of the neighbors says to me, you may not keep that dog here. And we were walking up a hill. My feet came to a dead stop. My whole body went silent. I had no idea what was going to come out of my mouth. But what did come out of my mouth was, you can't tell me what to do in my own personal home. The SPCA has asked us to foster him. That's a lie. I have not talked to the SPCA. I have no idea why those words came out of my mouth. But those were my words. And so I come back to the house and I think to myself, the dog needs help. Shooting him isn't helping him. That's not how to help this dog. I can see in the dog's eyes when he looks at me, and it's hard to make eye contact. As soon as you make eye contact, he gets excited and he starts chewing you up again. So I guess Chew is a good name for him. So he's got all sorts of things, and I don't even know if I'm the person to help. But I'm lucky. I'm connected to the lady at the SPCA. I give her a call, share with her the predicament, and she backs me. So I've sort of dug myself out of something. I have no idea still to this day why I said what I said. I just said it. So now I feel better. I'm not such a liar. I have some facts. Now I turn to this dog. I've taken him from the neighbors. I've taken the dog from the neighbors. Now I need to leave a note on his door. So now I'm starting to accept that dog has come into my house. And the first thing we need to do is we need to take care of his health. We need to get him neutered. There's things we need to do for this dog. And I do. I accept him in all his unruliness. I have no idea how I'm going to do this. He's such a big boy. I stand a whole 5 feet high. I know he's not finished growing. Good heavens, he's going to end up weighing as much as I do when he's fully grown. But I am that kind of person. Once I decide something, I'm all in. And I'm all in for this guy. Oh, Lisa, it has been a fantastic journey with him. I have learned so much. I think we only have him about 1.5 years though. And trouble is showing up in his back legs. So it ends up, he ends up in the Saskatoon University Hospital down there. We get one of his legs fixed, only for the vet to tell me that he'll see me in 1 year for the other leg, and my eyes are as big as saucers, and I say, what? And he said, oh yes, when one leg goes on these big dogs, usually the other will go too. So Haas was bred to be the ultimate sled dog. He is a bull mastiff husky mix. But you can tell now by the condition of these legs, it's bad breeding. They will never make good sled dogs. So I have this dog with medical problems, but he's such a gentle soul, Lisa. Through all of this, something every time I look into his eyes, I know he's worth every bit of what I'm doing. Every bit of it. And while he's in Saskatoon, something magical happens with a nurse. He's put in a pen for the evening before his surgery, but he won't leave the door. He just leans against his cage all through the time that he's in there, and the nurses have decided to open his door. And when I go to pick Haas up from the surgery, the story is, has he ever been caged? To my knowledge, no. They said that they ended up letting him wander free throughout the dogs, and every night he would go to every cage, to every dog, and check on all the dogs. The nurses said it was almost like he was checking in on everybody. He did quirky things like that in his life. He was just magical. He will end up giving gifts to the dogs. That when we first came out here, it was lawless with the dogs. All dogs lived outside through the winter. We get 40 below winters here, but all dogs lived outside. Everybody ran free. Next thing you know, dogs aren't living outside in the winter. Dogs are being walked by owners. When we first moved out here, I didn't know anybody that walked a dog. He is going to touch humans, dogs. He is going to touch so much in his little life. He's just the gentlest of giants. He's just a beautiful dog. So we get his legs fixed. And then life goes on. The man who wanted him shot is endeared to him, inviting him into the house for treats. Like, Haas just moves people. He just moves your heart. And then we have good years. We have absolutely wonderful years. The funniest of it's funny now, it wasn't funny at the time, was the day down at the lake on the dock. He was watching a lab retrieve one of these mock ducks that you throw in the water and you teach your lab how to retrieve. And for whatever reason, this dog decided he was a lab. It was his turn to retrieve. He went running off that dock, jumped in the water, and proceeded to sink to the bottom of the lake. He come up out of that water flailing and just, like I said, it's funny now, it wasn't funny at the time to watch him so panicked. So now Haas has fear of water. And that's a funny thing also. He will go in the water, wade to his chest, but that's it. You'll find him along the shore pretending he's looking for frogs and he's just doing other things, but swimming is not it. So even through that though, he's so afraid of the water, but he still will wade in with us. It didn't matter. He trusted me. He trusted me always. And I trusted him. I work outside in the yard a lot. We live in bear country. He watched over me. He was my faithful friend. Our walks in the morning, something that sticks with me so much is when you open the door and you step outside into the morning light and you stop for that moment and just breathe in the air. Just breathe the morning in. I miss that so much with just that moment. But that's how we start our day. The journey, I could just tell you guys so many wonderful moments. The moment he stood in front of my sister, he made her uneasy. She would ask me, is he one of those healing dogs that can sense when you're sick? Because he would stand in her face, sniffing her intently. Even though she loved him, he made her uneasy when he would do that. Like, just a special boy. So the years go by, and all these special moments and meeting special people, and his legs begin to heal. His legs begin to fail. From the beginning we knew though, from his surgeries, his legs were going to be an issue. And when his legs begin to fail, I reach out to you, Lisa. I've been in the More Than Existing program by then for about a year. I am learning to listen to myself. I am learning to listen to the earth. I'm learning to listen, just to listen and feel what is around me. And that's why I reached to you, Lisa. I hadn't quite taken him to the vet yet, but he was beginning to collapse. And so I have the appointment with Lisa, and she teaches me I'm not really touching Haas. I'm not a healer. Just yet, I'm not calling myself a healer. I'm still quite a bit doing from the old stuff I've been taught. I'm trying to teach myself and believe in myself the new things I am learning. And so when Lisa takes me through working on Haas's body and just doing energy, at first I think, I don't know if I feel anything with this. I don't know. But to be quite honest, I haven't known anything with my More Than Existing journey. I just keep going. And so with this, I'm going to do the same. It's new. I shouldn't expect I should know anything. Why do we think we need to know? Why can't we just go with the flow? So that's what I do with the knowledge that you leave me. I go with the flow. It's incredible what begins to happen because I begin to believe. I begin to trust. And he's not getting better. By then taking him to the vet, and yes, absolutely, there's trouble in his spine. The vet has given me some steroids to give to him just to try and boost the blockage in his spine for the little bit of time that he has, because we know where this is going. He's aging, and we just know in our hearts what we're seeing. It's the journey in the next month and a half that incredible things start to happen. I don't have to touch him. My hand can just be next to him. It starts to stabilize him when he walks. It's incredible when I just work with him, when he's laying down, how relaxed he can become, how much he just trusts me. And we are giggling, and I'm saying to Hoss, yes, Hoss, I'm your healer. And every morning, every step, every moment I have left with him, the old me wants to begin to grieve for what I am about to lose. The new me will not surrender to that kind of talk. I embrace every moment and suck it into my heart and fill myself with memories and love. Unconditional love. And that's where I work at. He will begin to heal Bob and I. He will teach us how to walk side by side. He will teach us compassion. He is going to just to the moment, because we do have to give in. Hoss's health is deteriorating so bad. Fine line between loving and torturing. And I know it's time to let him go. And yes, that's a tough one. That's such a tough one. Again, so peaceful. He was so peaceful, so loving. And a week ago today, we put Hoss down. Yes, I have grieved, but I will not allow the sadness to take over all the gifts and joy that he has brought me. And so I allow my sadness. I allow those moments of tears. I allow it, but I will not let it take over. There is too much to be grateful for. And I would do it all over again. All over again. I can't begin to share the gifts, the beautiful gifts he brought to me. And it's because of more than existing. It's because of my shift in perception that I have been able to deal with death in such a wonderful way. If there is such a thing as dealing with death in a wonderful way, I made it. I made it. Yeah, the journey has just been beautiful. So beautiful.
Oh my goodness, Julie. I am feeling so deeply on every level the beautiful journey that you are sharing with us and hearing so much depth in your words. And I'm feeling the emotions, and I'm feeling it out of such deep love and gratitude for your willingness to be so open and so authentic in your journey and so real about it. And what a beautiful example of knowing and trusting in your heart that this beautiful animal needed love, needed an opportunity, needed somebody to just give it a chance. And you know, in life, whether that's an animal or that's a human, how many moments have passed where people have lashed out in anger or people have been hurt, and they're just looking for a chance. They're just looking for somebody to believe in them, for somebody to show some compassion, to somebody to have faith. And your journey of having this relationship with Haas, and I can only picture it in my mind, you know, the size of this beautiful animal, the visual imagery of having this animal chained up, having this carcass there, of the potential fear that could portray. And you didn't let that stop you. You intuitively knew from what you were hearing and feeling that this beautiful dog was crying out for help. And you pushed past that image of the bones, of the death, of the fear story, and you saw that that was an essence of an individual trapped in its own misery, trapped in its own suffering, trapped in its own pain. And you found that compassion in you to bring that into the light, out of that doghouse and into the light and into your heart. And it was very much a journey of having to adjust to that process. And I always link that back, you know, to that More Than Existing program. And I'm going to share a link to that incredible program within the comments for this podcast, because that was really that shifting point of knowing, you know, we all have those times where we feel so caged, so trapped in our fear, so trapped in our misery, so trapped in our pain. And we're looking for that glimmer of hope of, you know, just having somebody with enough compassion to open the door, to lead us through, to surround us with that love, to give us an opportunity. And Haas had to work through his behaviors, his conditionings, his fears, whatever was going on. And you also had to work through your adamant mindset of nope, but still trusting that, you know, there's more to this relationship. I have this fight and I'm fighting really hard for this change. And because you were willing to embrace that, your experience touched so many other lives. Your willingness to just be you, to trust in that heart, to instinctively know that this journey was worth it. And you said it so beautifully when, you know, Haas is going through his own medical journey, his own circumstances, but you are seeing and getting a glimpse of the healer that was inside of him. The healer that is emerging, the gentle soul that did not need to be caged up, that was freely offering to others, other animals in that situation, the love that was shown to him. Extending it out there for more to benefit. And Julie, when you approached me for a loving touch energy healing session, and I just love that name. That name came to me from the guides, and I embraced every essence of that. Because as an energy guide, my job is to work with the owners, their beloved fur babies, I like to call them, to show them that they have all the ability inside to bridge that gap and to offer healing. So Haas came through and he opened a door for you. He created this wonderful opportunity out of love and out of compassion for the two of you to connect together. And I don't want to share the details of your experience because that is personal to you, but I do want to share with the audience that those animals are so intelligent and so wide open and so receptive. And I like to tease that in every single loving touch energy session that I've done, that those beautiful animals like to throw their owners under the bus, I call it, which means that they come through the door with some of their own emotions that need to clear, some of their own experiences. And what we're doing in that session is we are identifying what they're holding on to, and then we work with the owners to lovingly release that, to create the space and let it go for the body to be lighter. But these loving animals with their wide open hearts, they come to us all the time in those moments that we are in pain, in those moments that we are hurting, we're grieving, we're going through all of our life experiences, and they come and sit by our sides. They're in our energy. And because they are in our energy and they love us so deeply, they tend to pull some of that emotional experience away from their owners, away from their people, and they keep it in their bodies. And this is done out of love, but just like as individuals, as humans ourselves, we tend to hold on to other people's pain stories. We all need help and assistance along that journey to let it go, because it's not ours to carry. It weighs too much on the heart. We need to be free. So in this beautiful loving touch healing session, Haas let a lot of things go. And then you had a few opportunities there to bring Julie into it as well and bring it to her attention that, you know what, you're holding on to this part as well, and let's work together and both clear. But his ultimate goal in that session was to teach Julie that she is a healer and to walk her through the steps of believing in herself, returning that favor of, you believed in me, you trusted in me, you were compassionately holding me my journey, you saw through my behavior, my experience, that I had a healing ability inside. And he became your mirror reflection to show it back to you, to encourage you to believe in yourself just that much deeper and have that experience of knowing how much difference you were truly making by holding space for this beautiful, loving companion, for doing everything that you could to calm him, to prepare him. Now, it didn't fix his medical problems because we're not that powerful, and it is not our job to fix or heal anybody else. We do what is in the highest good, meaning you intuitively knew that his time was running near an end, but you had that desire in you to make that as beautiful and as loving and as compassionate as could be. And I believe you achieved just that. Do we grieve that process? Absolutely. But you knew that it was a transition in peace. You knew that every time you just sat near him in that discomfort, in that pain, that you were offering your open heart, you were offering understanding, compassion, you were just sharing in that experience of love with him. And love is such a powerful, powerful feeling. And I always like to say and believe very deeply that the power of love can push past anything. It can push past any darkness. It can push past any barrier. It can push past any mindset. And it does start with trusting in yourself and connecting into your own heart, into that own guidance, and following that calling inside. Even if other things in that mental mind are shouting back at you, no, 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 no. And that heart is screaming yes. And when you said yes to that heart, look at that beautiful, beautiful opportunities and years of this wonderful companion. And even now, he has passed on, but his energy, his presence, his love, that is not going anywhere. Not going anywhere. It is so embedded into your journey, all of those that knew him. I feel my own deep connection in the time that we've spent together, because it's just this incredible love story that I know beyond know is so true. So true. And it doesn't need any proof, because we can feel it, and we all have those abilities as humans, as beings. And for all of us that have animals in our lives, certain humans in our lives, I think we can relate to that story of just needing to have a chance, just needing to open the heart to the experience, to the joy, to let the love pour in. And what a beautiful journey you have shared with us all, Julie. I am so honored to have you in this podcast. I am so honored to walk with you through this More Than Existing program. I am so grateful for the amazing spiritual teachers, for Corey Thorne in particular, of having come into our life. And she's another prime example of an individual who just trusted in the journey, trusted in the message, trusted in bringing these tools to life. And Julie, you talked a lot about tools and the knowledge you've gained and the experience you've had. And I know this isn't the end for you. It feels like a very beautiful beginning. But as we wrap up today's podcast, I'm wondering if you could tell anybody or give anybody some advice as to that starting point of just letting the heart override the brain and saying yes to self. What would you share with them to inspire and encourage?
Trust yourself. Learn how to trust what is deep in you, what we feel, not what our brain says. Our brain is so full of it. We're just full of ourselves. Lisa, by me just saying the word healer, my background doesn't come from anywhere like that, even though there was quirky little people that I was around even when I was little. I watched my mother trapped in the human world, but deeply submersed in misery. She was unable to find any peace, any truth. If I had any gift to give anyone, oh my goodness, you guys, get in a More Than Existing program. Learn how to love yourself. You matter. Every morning you matter. It all matters. I have went from thinking I didn't matter, nothing mattered. It would never matter how hard I tried. Things would never change. It just doesn't matter. I have done a 360. Everything matters. Matters how I greet the day. My words matter. We live in a world where nobody thinks anybody's listening, but if you start to listen, there's a lot of frivolous prattle going on out there. Just go for it. Doesn't matter your age. Just go for it. Learn to believe in yourself, to trust yourself. Just give yourself over. Just give yourself over to your higher. I don't know how to say it because I am so unreligious. To that essence that is greater than us. To the love, to the beauty, to all those things that are right there in front of us. Happiness and joy are in front of us. It's not out there. You can't make it with material things. It is in you. It is in the palm of your hand. It's all right here for us. It's just right here.
Oh, Julie, that was absolutely beautiful. For all the audience that is listening today, you heard it from Julie. You heard it from her heart. You heard it from her story. Put yourself first. Embrace that experience. Know that you are worth it. You've heard us talk a lot about the More Than Existing program. That will be in the description for this podcast. I highly encourage you to go and explore for yourself. Let it feel through your own body. Let it resonate with your own heart to see if that is calling you. Regardless of the program, there are so many other ways out there for you to just start saying yes to you. And that is really all that matters in this journey of life, is to learn to be authentic, to be who you are meant to be, not to be weighed down by anybody else's expectations, anybody else's beliefs, anybody else's control over your mind, body, and spirit connection. But to come back home to the essence of you, to come back home to love, to really start to honor what do you need. So embrace this journey of life. This is Let's Talk Energy. Julie, I am so honored and so grateful that you came on this episode. You shared your heart and you shared such a beautiful, beautiful relationship with Haas that we could all celebrate in his life, and to take those moments of going outside, greeting the day, breathing it in, and experience that. What's next? What's possible? What is next in this lifetime? Knowing our loved ones, our guides, that greater energy. Haas's essence for you is right there in that moment of that breath and that open heart, encouraging you to put one foot in front of the other and just keep moving forward. Thank you, Julie, from the bottom of my heart. And I am so grateful to have you as a soul sister within this More Than Existing program, and with everything else that we do together as part of your journey and as part of mine and as part of many, many others to come. Much gratitude to you.
And thank you so much for inviting Haas and I on this journey, Lisa. So grateful.
You are so, so very welcome.